Construction workers are not only at risk because of improper use of equipment, working at height, and other hazards, but they are also exposed to toxic and hazardous substances in the workplace. Workers must be informed about the chemicals that may contaminate them. OSHA, together with the Globally Harmonized System of Classification and Labeling of Chemicals, or GHS, collaborated in making sure that the manufacturers and distributors of these hazardous chemicals will follow the two guidelines. Number 1 guideline is the SDS, or Safety Data Sheets, or commonly known as the MDSD, or Material Safety Data Sheets. These are informational sources about hazards and include safety precautions standardized by OSHA and GHS. This new datasheet has a 16-section format and mandated to appear in this arrangement. Section 1, Identification. In this section, you'll get to see the information on the chemical product. It includes the name of the product, manufacturer's address, and emergency contact information. It also states the recommendations or restrictions of the product. Second, Hazards Identification. This section should indicate the following: signal word, hazard statements, precautionary statements, pictograms. Next, composition or information on ingredients. This section will disclose what are the harmful chemicals present in the product and the percentage of each chemical used in the product. Section 4, First Aid. This includes the guidelines on how to initially treat someone who was exposed to toxic chemicals. Section 5, Firefighting measures. It will recommend how to fight a fire caused by some chemicals and the right type of fire extinguisher to use. Section 6, Accidental release measures. This section covers the various steps involved in the response to a spill, leak, or release. It includes recommendations on how to minimize or prevent exposure to people, properties, and the environment. Section 7, Handling and storage, provides regulation on the safe handling practices and conditions for safe storage of chemicals, including mismatches. Section 8, or the exposure controls or personal protection, indicates the exposure limits, engineering controls, and personal protective equipment measures that can be used to minimize worker exposure. Section 9, Physical and chemical properties. This identifies in this section the physical and chemical properties included in the substance or mixture. Section 10, Stability and reactivity. It describes in this section the reactivity hazards of the chemical and the chemical stability information. This section is categorized in 3 parts: reactivity, chemical stability, and others. And lastly, Section 16 contains the date of preparation or the last revision for the safety data sheets. Although sections 11 to 15 are not required by OSHA, they want everyone to be aware of them because it still contains important information. As the OSHA and GHS aligned, they came up with a more standardized container label in Section 2 to include all of the following information. First on the list is the Product Identifier. This is to identify the hazardous chemicals it needs to have unique, a name or number. Next is Signal Word. These are the level of how severe the product is. Danger is the signal word used for severe hazards, while warning is used for the less severe ones. The third is the hazard statement. It describes the nature of the product. For example, highly flammable liquid and vapor, or may cause liver damage. Another one is the statement, a phrase that refers to a set of precautionary measures designed to prevent or minimize adverse effects resulting from improper storage or handling of a product or service. Next is supplier information. It includes the name, address, and telephone number of the chemical manufacturer, importer, or other responsible parties. Lastly, pictograms. These are icons with other graphic elements in a small red box. It includes the specific type of risk associated with the product. These icons are accompanied with precautionary statements such as, do not store near flammable gases or liquids, do not get in eyes, on the skin, or on clothing, and etc. Pictogram has 8 icons with different designs. These icons indicate the specific type of risk you might encounter while using this chemical product. Flame icons are seen on chemical labels for substances that are flammables, pyrophoric, self-heating, emits flammable gas, self-reactive, organic peroxide. Exclamation point. This is used on a chemical label for substances that represent the following hazards: irritant, skin and eye; skin sensitizer; acute toxicity; narcotic effects; respiratory tract irritant; hazardous to ozone layer. Next is the exploding bomb pictogram. These icons are normally seen on chemical labels of substances that are explosives, self-reactive, organic peroxides. Flame over circle. This symbol on a chemical label means that the substance is an oxidizer. Oxidizers may cause a fire by increasing the concentration of oxygen in the air. Skull and crossbones. Substances with a hazard of acute toxicity will have this symbol on their chemical label. Acute toxicity means that exposure to only one dose of chemical may be toxic or fatal if inhaled or accidentally swallowed, or if it comes into contact with the skin. Corrosion. This chemical label means that a substance can cause skin corrosion and burns. Gas cylinder. This pictogram represents the hazard from gases under pressure. And health hazards. It means that a substance can cause health hazards such as carcinogen, mutagenicity, reproductive toxicity, respiratory sensitizer, target organ toxicity, aspiration toxicity. Environmental hazard pictogram, however, is not mandated by OSHA because its purpose is mainly on the health and safety of workers. Remember, employees have the right to know everything that may harm them. Make sure to be mindful of these icons and statements indicated in any product.